Welcome back to the Entrepreneurial Edge with Dawn Gagye. I'm Dawn, owner of Tracer Strategic Marketing, and today we're pulling back the curtain on a topic that could literally change the trajectory of your financial future. My guest is Jeffrey Florio, founder of Old Oak Advisors, and here's something that might just shock you. Jeff is part of less than 10% of financial advisors who operate as fee-only fiduciaries. I call them the one percenters of the advisor world. And there's a very important reason why. If you've ever wondered whether your financial advisor is truly working in your best interest, or if you're a business owner between 45 and 65 years old looking to turn your financial dreams into reality, this conversation is absolutely essential listening. We're going to explore what it really means to be a fiduciary, why having your advisor's personal cell phone number matters more than you think, and how Jeff helps his clients transform from saying, I wish I could, to confidently declaring, I really can. Whether you're planning for retirement, saving for that lake house, or building generational wealth for your family, Jeff's insights on navigating the complex world of financial planning while maintaining that crucial human touch in an increasingly digital world are going to be eye-opening. So grab your coffee, get warmed up for that run, or settle in while you take a drive, and let's get to the edge of what it takes to build lasting financial success. Here's my conversation with Jeffrey Florio. Welcome back to another episode of the new format in the Entrepreneurial Edge podcast. I'm Dawn Gagye, the owner of Tracer Strategic Marketing and your host. Today, our guest is Jeffrey Florio. We call him Jeff of Old Oak Advisors. He is a registered investment and advisor, which is special. I call you guys the one percenters as a fiduciary advisor world.
We are a small percentage.
So tell us about your business. Just give us a little lay of the land about your company first.
Old Oak Advisors is a fee-only investment advisory firm. We do serve as a fiduciary to our clients. And really what that means is that we always work in the best interest of our client. So we're not compensated off of commissions or any other things, initiatives to sell products or anything like that. We don't sell anything. And as a result, it allows us to align our interest with our client's interest, which is to manage their portfolios responsibly and help them make money. So anything that we can do to further that mission for each of our clients, our families that we work for, we do that.
So you work with some really special type of client, I would say. They have a very unique mindset when it comes to money, I think. Can you tell us more about the perfect fit client for you and how you can best serve them?
The perfect client for us is the one that we can add value to. And so we are looking for clients who have the right mindset as far as saving and working towards whatever their goals are. And everybody's goals are different. So a lot of people are focused on retirement, which is obviously a worthy goal. But some people want the lake house, or they want to travel a lot and send their kids to college, or whatever the case may be. And so those tend to be shorter term goals. So how can we make those wishes a reality for each of them and help them achieve those different goals in an efficient manner? So we often find that those age ranges from 45 to 65 tend to be a good mix for us. We tend to be able to add more value to those types of clients. And certainly as their assets grow, we can do more things. And so there's unique opportunities there, as well as business owners. And we work a lot with business owners, and they have unique needs. And because of that, their tax situation may be slightly different as well. So we have tools available to us that we implement for them to help them maximize their after-tax portfolio value, the after-tax returns. That's something that maybe not everyone does, at least to the same degree that we do.
What makes you get out of bed every day to serve these clients? What's your core philosophy and why you do what you do?
Sure. I really see it as an education. So each client, I'm educating them. And so sometimes it's just making the wise financial decisions. Maybe it's where do we stand in our financial journey? How close are we to that? And at the end of the day, it's how comfortable are they in making that next decision? In other words, you can enjoy your European trip so much more knowing that your retirement is not going to be negatively impacted
Right.
in a meaningful way. So I look at it as an educational experience. I really like that aspect of it. Working with clients, working with my family that I do work with, that gets me out of bed because I love making extra money for them and helping them go from I wish I could to I really can. You know, and Old Oak Advisors can do that for them.
I know that in the past couple months, we've been talking a lot in somewhat of a marketing consulting role for you. I have a background in working with a registered investment advisor who really inspired me
Right.
because he has the same kind of drive to
Hmm.
do what he does for his clients
Mhm.
as you.
Yeah.
And I would love to know how we can best convey why what you and this other person I've worked for in the past, why what you do is so unique in the fiduciary world or the
Mhm.
investment world, because I don't feel like a lot of people know the difference between a straight up broker
Sure.
and what a registered investment advisor is. There is a significant difference. So earlier when I talked about the one percenters of the fiduciary world, not based on like his assets, his personal assets, but the uniqueness in the place and space of that kind of category
Mhm.
of financial advisor. Can you speak to that a little bit and define what that should mean to the layperson?
Sure. In general terms, a lot of people can relate to a traditional, say, brokerage type of a firm where they charge a commission or anyone who sells a product. Those people are compensated based off of a commission. And then you have what's called fee based. And typically in those types of scenarios, they could also call themselves hybrid type of advisor. You may charge your client a fee, but you're also paid by some distributor for selling assets to them. So the payment structure is slightly different. At Old Oak Advisors, we are a small percentage of the financial landscape. And so we are purely 100% only compensated by our clients. So we receive no other compensation from anyone else. And in the investment world, being a fiduciary and serving in that fee only capacity, I think it's the best way to move forward. For some people, they may choose a different route. As a result, we are a small percentage. I don't know about necessarily 1%, but definitely south of 10% of the entire industry. And so I feel like that's the best way to help my clients achieve their goals. And without a doubt, they know that what advice I'm giving them is truly in their best interest. And that's the part I really love about it.
I do too. The way I had it explained to me when I was at the boutique firm in Wellesley, Mass before moving to Birmingham was you in your category in the investment world and the role that you occupy is
Right.
no different than a doctor with the Hippocratic oath to do no harm, an attorney where they only do what's in the best interest of their client. And you are the same. You
Right.
have a obligation and an oath to only do what's in the best interest of your client.
And
Right.
it's by choice.
Which
So
is so
it's
amazing.
not necessarily as though it's mandated upon us.
Right.
I'm the founder of Old Advisors. So I had the option, obviously, when I start a financial firm, how do I want it to be structured? So I put myself in the client's shoes and said, what do I want? What would be the best financial firm that I would want to work with? So every day I strive to make Old Oak Advisors that place for clients to come and they feel vested as a result. That's one thing I've learned in the process. They feel very much a part of the firm and about Old Oak Advisors. And that's a phenomenal feeling. And it really becomes a partnership with my client. And we're all working together. If you think about husband and wife and then me, and we all three work together to achieve their goals. And at some point we talk about legacy, and sooner or later the children may have a seat at the table depending upon the family's choice. Then it becomes very collaborative. And how do we want to work with our estate moving forward? And what changes can we make that are high initiatives for themselves as a family? Because it's not so much my interest, it's
Right.
theirs, right? But they need some navigation on that path. And I'm there to do that. We also work with phenomenal CPAs as well as outside estate attorneys and counsel. In doing that, it really becomes a teamwork type of effort. And depending upon the family, sometimes they bring those other people to the table and we work well with them.
And I think, it takes a village to get people to these bigger financial goals. And it is
Absolutely.
not just you in a vacuum. Your ability to partner with your partners that you recommend to your
Mhm.
clients, or like people that they bring to the table, knowing that you can work seamlessly with all the players to ensure that everybody is rowing in the same direction at the same time to move the boat
Exactly.
at the right pace to the
Mhm.
destination.
Absolutely.
And I don't feel like that's something everybody can do as well as
Right.
others. So it makes you really special in that way. Hence again, like that 1%
That's right.
special ability. And now that I've come to understand your process, I'd love to have you share, what does it look like when someone has decided, okay, Jeff,
Mhm.
we'd like to work and partner with
Right.
you to help us accomplish our goals. Tell me your process that you do.
Sure. Their personal feelings and idea on risk with money drives a large degree of how we move forward, starting off.
Yeah.
There is a discussion process and we interview each other, if you will. In that process, I find what are their risk tolerances? How averse are they to risk in regards to money?
Yeah.
And so within that, we discuss their current portfolio. What are they doing now? What are some changes that could actually take place? And we go through a process of saying, is this a situation where Old Oak advisors can add value? In some cases, they are on a perfect path and, they're doing exactly what they need to do. And they maybe don't need our service. We'll tell them that you're doing a good job where you are or on your own or whatever the situation may be. But if we decide to move forward, we'll do a full risk analysis on typically both of them and say, husband and wife, how do you feel about money? What type of risk would you like to take? And then from there, we derive a portfolio that would help them achieve their goals as well as manage that risk. And then all the other factors concerned, we may have discussions around that. So we may actually dial up the risk because of certain situations based off of my recommendation. And then other times we may dial it down. And then from there, we implement the portfolio for them once they are well-versed and understand it and they sign off on it, they agree. And then it becomes a regular discussion.
Okay.
I think that's another thing is that my clients have my cell phone number,
Like your personal
my
cell phone number?
personal cell phone. It could,
I
it
thought
could
that
ring
was,
right.
I just thought I had that because I was a friend.
I can be contacted day or night. If they have a question, they get in touch with me. It's not as though they're calling a large wirehouse or they're going to be put through a call tree or anything of that nature. I will say sometimes it goes to voicemail. I do have other clients, and so they have needs as well, but it becomes very much a dialogue and we're
Ongoing.
constantly ongoing, working toward whatever their goals are. Based off of the needs of the client determines maybe how frequently we meet to review if there's certain market environments or certain things are happening within their portfolio. It could influence making a call, to have a discussion or actually sitting down and revamp the portfolio based off of these metrics. As children age, those are obviously discussions that we have, and it could precipitate a change in the portfolio and how we manage it. But without a doubt, we meet with them at the very least on a yearly basis. I would say it happens much more frequently than that in reality. Your portfolio is a living and breathing thing. It's not just a set it and forget it type
I
of
was going to ask about
type
that.
of thing. Yeah. And so we don't treat it that way. So even though I may be looking at it every day, my clients don't, and that's okay. So they're paying me to
Right.
do it. But I'm also, filled with that responsibility to care for that. That's a sense of responsibility that I have for my clients. And I take that very seriously. I want to make sure people are taken care of in that regard. So it becomes a, discussion point because even as they move into retirement, they still have an investment portfolio, or oftentimes the business owners sell their business. And that creates a whole other dynamic that they have not experienced before, but we have. And so we can bring that experience to the table and help them through that process.
I think that experience is invaluable when you have
Mhm.
someone who can say, I've been here before. I know the terrain. This is what you can expect.
Mhm.
And just know that I'm going to be here. Like, it's not going to go exactly as planned. Kind of like building a house
Right.
or renovating. You have a perfect plan and a blueprint, but
Mhm.
stuff's going to happen. And that's okay.
Mhm.
And you're very clear about that. Like,
Mhm.
we can handle this. I'm here to help you navigate what might or might not come up, but this is what it looks like. We're going to set our path here
Mhm.
and we'll do what we can to ensure that you get there in whatever way we can.
Absolutely. And the market provides different, environment
Right.
for everyone's portfolio. Not everyone starts the same day with working with Old Oak advisors. And so everyone's path to where they want to be is going to be unique.
Yep.
Simply that someone's first year returns may be, positive, or some may be negative based off of what the market is doing. So how do we respond from there is really telling, more so than the actual return at that particular time. The returns are only one factor of the entire picture.
Yeah.
We take taxes, the estate, all of these other factors into play, your business. What does that look like? What do your outside investments look like? And we will invest the portion that we manage for you in accordance with the rest of your investment portfolio, because it could be real estate. It could be the fact that you own a business. So we want to account for those different things and how we manage the more liquid assets in the investment portfolio.
And I think what you do, when you pull back from metrics and numbers, when you're the layperson on the client side, is you give this impression, and I think in an honest way, that I'm still mindful while I'm still the numbers guy, because you're extraordinary at that. Just have this mind for it. So wonderful and impressive. But you're always attuned to the fact that it is a unique circumstance for every client. You do have familiarity with all of that terrain. You do see all of the moving parts, even outside of just what you're doing for them, how those things influence. But you're also mindful, which I think really is what is extraordinary about you, about the long-term vision and the feeling that your client wants to have when they're approaching the point of success for them.
Right.
And it's becoming real. This is no longer just the plan. We're approaching reality, and that dream is now going to become a reality. Can you talk about what that's like for you in your role to get to that point with your client?
Sure.
How does that feel?
It's really, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but when you take someone that comes in the door and they start with, I wish I could, and as an advisor, you tell them, I know you can. And they may or may not believe, but then when we chart that path and they place their trust in you without a doubt, and you move forward in that, as it grows and develops, as the plan comes to fruition, it's amazing when that light bulb hits, because we tend to know it ahead of time. Like we know, okay, if we do these things, then you will achieve success in achieving whatever that goal will be. And we have a very high probability, where numbers of people apply a level of probability to achieving those different goals. And we want to make that as high as possible. And then when you see the chips start to fall, or the client's actions turning into reality, it's like, okay, this is going to work. But then when that light bulb goes off for them, it becomes that aha moment, that wow moment, where they're like, I never thought I'd be able to do this. And to be able to bring someone to that point is really fulfilling. It's I take an educational aspect. I'm trying to educate clients, but that's it. I mean, it's very much like I can imagine for a teacher trying to teach in a classroom. And you can see in your students when the light bulb goes off that it's sort of like, I get it now. It's that same type of feeling when you see it in your clients. But obviously, it's even more meaningful, because in many cases, it could change the trajectory of their their life, their family's life, the generational aspect of things, or how much they're able to give. If they're, have a philanthropic mindset, we can actually make a big impact for the charities that we truly care about now because of this decision that we made. And so those are the things that are really fulfilling. So yeah, it's definitely an enlightening moment, but when you see that happen.
So once you retire, which I know your clients never want you to do, but once you retire, what's going to make you look back and say, I really can't believe I helped do this? Do you have this kind of vision yourself?
Sure. Well, I absolutely have no plans to retire.
I'm sure you don't.
So,
most of you guys don't.
I know most of the stuff I'm going to be. I know most of the stuff I'm going to be.
Your brain's working.
I'm going to be like Warren Buffett. I'm going to be 95 and still going. I'm definitely. I truly love what I do.
Yeah.
And I love the people that I do it for. That I have no plans to retire. They're going to have to, pry me away from the desk at some point. But I think, in looking back, say I'm 95 and we do get to look back, I think I would like people to say he had a lot of conviction for what our goals were, regardless of what his personal feeling was about money or about risk. He really listened to our needs and helped us achieve and develop and grow a portfolio that was meaningful to us. At the end of the day, 100%, all of the time, I ask myself this each day is what I'm going to do today going to enrich my clients' lives as a whole? And then it makes my personal business decisions even easier.
Mhm.
Because as an entrepreneur, Entrepreneur Edge. So as an entrepreneur, we get bombarded with all types of offers to buy this or sell this or whatever the case may be. Use this service, don't use this service. And a excellent factor that I use, a filter to weed out some of those things is if I use this piece of software, is it going to enrich my client's life? And how is it going to do that?
Yeah.
And if it's a yes, then we'll investigate it. If it's a no, it's an easy pass. We're not going to do it.
So good.
And so we want to fight for and have true conviction that everything that we do every single day is enriching our clients' lives. And at the end of the day, when I'm 95, we'll look back hopefully and say, we've really moved the needle for a lot of families. And that would make me happier than anything.
So good. And I think too, to add to that, just hearing what you shared about even the philanthropic mention you made, my grandparents, my dad's parents were very philanthropic throughout their lifetime. And after they passed, we still continue to see that live on. So that's a different dimension of legacy where it benefits the community as a whole. And I can't imagine being in your seat, how that might also translate later on in life when you look back as well. Your impact indirectly through guiding these people to make sure and ensure that these things live on beyond them.
Definitely in the philanthropic, it's, the gift that hopefully keeps on giving if it's done wisely, but then also generationally.
Yeah.
So I'm at the point in my career that I've been able to work with parents and then subsequently work with the children. If they have been a part of the experience and as a family together, that's really exciting to watch all of that. But even if they haven't, and the discussion starts, closer to the end of the parents working with me that time, to go through that same process of education of the children that I did with the parents and helping them achieve it, it's almost like either watching your own kids, grow up and everything, or I would imagine watching your grandchildren walk or ride a bike or whatever it is for the first time. You get that excitement all over again. But that's what I feel when I work with the children as well. So definitely in the philanthropic, to be wise about those things, but then even the children generationally to help them achieve their goals and remind them that this is a responsibility.
Right. Yes.
So not only, having money is not necessarily all roses and everything. It's a responsibility. And so we have a responsibility to preserve that for our clients as well as making it grow. But we're educating even the younger generation about, okay, these are the same values and the same foundation that your parents did and they worked so hard for. And so we want to maintain that. We want to preserve that because it's your family's legacy now at this point. We want to see that continue on to your children and your children's children.
Yeah. Tell me why you decided to do your own thing as an entrepreneurial endeavor for doing what you do versus a bigger house.
Sure. So
operation.
Yeah, it tends to be there are other great advisors out there. I mean, without
Absolutely.
a doubt, I always, I guess since I was very little, wanted to have my own business. I cut grass. I did all these other little things to make money on my own. I enjoyed the entrepreneurial aspect. I was bitten early on.
I can appreciate.
Yeah, but also there's a lot of, red tape and
Yes, there is.
and different
In the corporate
incentives
world.
in the corporate world and incentive structures that sort of dictate, because obviously they're trying to make money for different reasons. And without a doubt, all due respect there, I always wanted the client to be the main focus. It's one of the reasons actually that I didn't even name the firm after myself,
Yeah.
is that it's not necessarily, it is about me, but it's not about me.
Right.
I don't mean that in a braggadocious way. I mean that I have that personal, it's about me because the client, we have a personal relationship in achieving your goal. But it also allows me to make those decisions, whether it's technology or software or any of those things that I mentioned earlier that help us move the needle towards the client's end goal in an efficient manner. So my degree is in investment management, but my minor is also in computer science. And so I have a love of technology, but only as a tool.
Okay. Tell me more
Um,
about that.
yeah, the kind of the big buzzword right now in the industry, just in business in general, is AI, artificial intelligence. And although it is very functional, I still think, this is my opinion, but I still think it has issues with sort of what I call the last mile. You can, it's useful as a tool, but at the end of the day, to people want that personal contact. They want that to hear it from an individual. They don't want to be handled by a machine or computer or a calling tree or whatever the case may be. And so that's why we may use it to take notes. We may use it for different aspects of reading documents and give us a summary faster, makes us more efficient in a lot of things that we do, but it's never going to replace us, never going to make the decision for us 100%. It's still at a point where it's still a little bit inaccurate. And even because of that, I don't know that it would be sort of what I, again, call the last mile and making those final decisions. But also, utilizing technology allows us to drive down those costs for the client,
Right.
Or for us, which in turn we can pass on to the client. And so when it comes to account openings now are largely handled electronically. And it's not simply that we use that because of that manner, it's that it makes the data cleaner in that it's not multiple people, someone's writing it on a form, somebody's typing it in, and all of these types of things. So because of that, it's much more accurate. We can open accounts extremely fast. And at the end of the day, all of those things drive down costs. So either we can work more efficiently and help more people. We focus on what really matters, the user. And so it helps us do those things just more efficiently. So,
And I get that too. I think that people seem very yes or no on technology when it comes to AI. And I
sure.
think there's a gray area to be investigated there. And I've always been an early adopter of technology. I'm like the fruit type product, which I'm not going to say because I don't want to get us into any trouble, but I've been a fan in their people, their perfect clients and customers are early adopters because there's this curiosity. Well, I don't want to be fearful of this thing. I think I want to lean in and investigate it more.
Right.
Being mindful, it's an investigation, it's an exploration. There are some unknowns here, but what could it empower us to do better?
That's right.
Fast, more effectively. And to your point, it can save some good money on the overhead of running a business as an entrepreneur. So I've leveraged it myself on behalf of my clients to just get us a quick start and eliminate a back office. Although I love my people, I do, but I am a young company and I don't have the financial bandwidth right yet to bring in those people. I bring them on as a gig basis. We have Nick behind the camera. Who, like I want to just hold on to and never let go because so good.
That's awesome.
And he just is excellent. But it does help you carry and identify a massive amount of information very, very quickly that is qualified, that is reputable, and that can be harvested for the good, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, anyone could take anything and make it detrimental to our health.
Sure. Yeah.
At the end of the day,
We must use it for good.
Yeah. And we always use it for good. So I, much like you, utilize it in a way that it gives me a quick start, gets me a lot of information very fast. It helps keep my overhead low for my client. And then there's a high level of human touch on the other side. So we gather and harvest, and then I assess the accuracy and the comprehensiveness. Is this true or not true because of my background, 25 years experience in the marketing capacity? Oh, that's not actually right. Or let's refine that a little bit more.
Sure.
But it sure does help my client get results a lot faster
Absolutely.
in a meaningful way that is accurate because it has that high level of human touch. Just like you said earlier, it's going to
Mhm.
eliminate some overhead, some hurdles and things that are going to prevent your client from having success. So if you can eliminate those and it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can also highlight areas where we need to delve deeper,
Yeah.
and so it helps us prevent, it helps to prevent an oversight. And I'm talking maybe like in a client meeting,
Yep.
what was said. If
Yeah.
we're thinking back and we're reviewing, we can actually go back and look at the recording and say, okay, this is what it was. This is what was said. This is what was discussed. And it gives us clarity
Yeah.
on whatever the issue may be and things like that. It may highlight something that says, okay, it knows something's happening here or something's going on with the market. Jeff, you need to look at
Closer.
this closer. And it may be even something that doesn't hit my news reel or
Mhm.
doesn't hit the more traditional methods that I use for my decision-making process. And it opens up a new area that I need to find out more about. I need to investigate that. And so in that regard, it helps us make wiser
Yeah.
decisions because maybe the breadth of information is much wider that we can cover because we do go pretty deep in the areas we cover. So this really expands the breadth.
I had this experience yesterday with a client. We were building a campaign and I was mentoring a younger person in the organization who just came into a new role.
Oh,
And part of my work is making sure, similar to you, I have to educate my client
sure.
because they're not marketing experts.
Yep.
And so I don't presume to believe that they know what I'm talking about or they understand. So I'm walking her through that. We ran and built, based on my process, their campaign
Hmm.
to accomplish a goal.
Sure.
And then I knew to lean into it harder because of my inside knowledge
Mhm.
to run it on a different dimension. And I watched this young new marketer see it in real time. And you could see like her eyes lit up. She was
Yeah.
just tickled by it. And as was
Mhm.
we couldn't contain ourselves. We got kind of giddy with
That's neat.
excitement. And so much of what you said, like that education moment
Mhm.
is a really nice benefit to people like us who really believe that there's a portion of what we do that is educating our client
Without a doubt.
and shedding light onto the things and making
Right.
sure we've identified blind spots that aren't going to,
Mhm.
blindside anybody.
That's right. Well, especially in the financial world, there's so much misinformation
Uh-huh.
or cloudy information. So with that kind of
Well
not
said.
touching the AI piece, we strive to make that partly cloudy or less cloudy
Right.
and help you navigate through maybe a non or an opaque type of moment, financial
Yeah.
moment decision that because we know what's on the other side.
Right.
And so we use our experience to help make that decision for, and you don't rely on the misinformation that's out there.
Right.
And through that education process, the clients may have a preconception
Right.
and we can help educate from the standpoint of, okay, no, this is the reality.
Right.
Just because some search engine or AI or whatever the case may be said this in practicality, or it may not even apply to
Right.
that particular client.
Right.
They may have special need. They may have a completely different scenario or situation. And so you have to account for those things. And that wasn't plugged into one of whatever tool they use. So I love technology. I love to use it. But at the end of the day, like I said, you still require, let's put it this way. I think the greatest asset is that people can talk to me.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah, agreed.
and so the fact that they can call me, they can email me, whatever works for them, they can get in touch with me and we can have that heart-to-heart conversation.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
big differentiator. I think there's multiple things that differentiate you from anyone else who's doing what you're doing. And I hope we've done it justice in highlighting those for you today because I think
Yeah.
there's something remarkable. I know there's something remarkable about what you do and how you do it
Yeah.
with the
Well,
people that you serve.
I appreciate that.
So looking ahead,
Sure.
I do want to tease this out a bit because I know a
Mm.
thing
Okay.
about your vision.
Okay.
Let's talk about your 5-year vision. Where do you see Old Oak Advisors in 5 years? Because there's something rumbling in.
Sure. There is. We have clients who have unique needs. They may vary. And because of this relationship that I have with clients, I get a tremendous amount of feedback of these are some of the things we would like to see. These are some of the things that we would like. That's one of the reasons I think that they enjoy working with us because we have found that and it's not meaningful for everyone.
Right.
There's probably about 10% of our client base where because of their financial situation, they have very unique tax needs,
Yeah.
tax situations.
Yeah.
And so as a result, we will be rolling out a specific sort of preferred service for the client because they've requested it.
Yeah.
And they said, I'd really like for something to be handled this way for us. And I'll talk about that later. And I don't want to kind of
We're going to tease it out a little bit.
burst my own
Yeah.
surprise because we are nimble
Yeah.
and we can
word.
move around
Yep.
much more efficiently. That I think the next 5 years, it's going to be a huge asset for those particular clients. So that's one endeavor. We have another piece that is somewhat of an overlap. Is I'm going to use the same 10% because that's true. It's probably 10% of our client base again. And some of them overlap and some don't with the original 10%.
Got it. Yeah.
But we do alternative trading models, options and derivatives and things like that. I don't want to get too much in the weed on that. But there again, given our size and being nimble, certain clients have asked for these different things. And they said, Jeff, what can you do? And given my background in investment management, that's what I studied in school. It's as though I just decided to do this one day. I've always had this dream. And so to be able to provide that to another subset of clients where they have said, this is something we'd like. We actually have, and that's been implemented for the people that it's meaningful to. That's exciting. And I certainly want to see the firm grow. They could definitely grow. And I don't just mean more clients.
Right.
I could potentially see other advisors coming on board. That's one of the things in creating an environment that is focused on the client. And to me, a wonderful place for the clients to be and reside, that at some point you'll find other advisors who say, I like that environment as well. And I would like to operate under these rules because of what you have built so far. And for the right person, that could be a possibility. It doesn't mean I'm actively going out or anything, but should the situation present itself, certainly within the next 5 years, I could see us growing to more advisors than what we have now.
Yeah. And I like the fact that you made it clear that you want to attract and align with these people who want to join forces and empower not you, but your clients, to empower you to do more, better, higher level across more spaces within the industry. I see your core mission as serve.
Yes.
And over the long term, and make sure that we're doing everything to accommodate the needs and desires and dreams of our clients. And that's a brilliant move, I think. As entrepreneurs, I have an opportunity to pursue capital, and it wasn't really on my radar screen. I had a business coach bring it to my attention. And the feedback from my first pitch to your investors was, we really would love to give you the capital. How do we scale it if it's just you? And I wasn't upset by that. I was like, that's a great question. How do we do this?
Sure.
So in exploring that, the answer was there's some technology that we might have put into place. There's, educating young women marketers to understand how to do strategy. They're not taught that when they get their degree.
Right.
That's not addressed in undergraduate. Maybe it's part of an MBA. I don't know. I don't have an MBA, but I live and breathe strategy, and I do like to teach it. And I do want to mentor other women to be able to ascend up the ranks within their own organization or other people's organization.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, serve their client better.
Absolutely.
So how do we do that? And I can appreciate that vision that you have to know that what's truly at the heart and soul of this bigger scale at some point in time, not massive scale, but bigger, meaning more than one, that you're mindful of it.
Sure.
And that you have an intention to attract people who are aligned with your values and the way that you serve, and that they want to do the same thing.
Sure.
Coming into it. They don't have to be trained to do it.
Exactly. Exactly. And there's certainly economies of scale that come into play, excuse me, that we can both share.
Yeah.
When you're comfortable being in the same environment in that capacity as in the business structure, then those are great things to have because you share ideas and you share resources.
Right.
And so that's a perfect idea. I do want to make it clear that I'm by far alone in
Yeah.
this whole endeavor. I still have back office
Yeah.
of about 350 people. And
Right.
so they are phenomenal in making sure that I have everything that I need to do what I do effectively. And they help other great advisors across the country. So that's a
It's a huge
phenomenal
asset
thing.
to what
It
how you
absolutely,
can serve your
it absolutely
for
is. Yeah. From everything as simple as a high yield savings account to the most technical trading model or methodology that we want to utilize, they are able to accommodate that. And at the end of the day, that adds value to our clients.
So good.
So it's great.
We're going to wrap up. If this has resonated with people and they're experiencing a curiosity moment for themselves, what do they do to find you and how
Sure.
do they connect?
Absolutely. I would say the initial contact is you can find us on most social media outlets. I'm kind of the old school type, as my daughter would say, I'm on Facebook. So that's not the cool one anymore, I guess, but I'm on Facebook. I'm definitely on LinkedIn. Also on my website, oldoakadvisors.com. It's with an O. That's definitely the best way. All the contact information is there. Please reach out, give us a call, shoot us an email. Happy to discuss in further detail how what we do can really impact you or work best for your family and your situation and whatever your goals are. We want to help you achieve them. And if we can't help or we can't add value to your situation, I'll certainly tell you that as well. We want to see how everyone we touch and everyone we have contact with to succeed financially. Yeah.
Oh, we have a PS to that because there is something special you do. The second opinion, you still offer those? So
Absolutely.
like if people say, oh, I already have an advisor, I'm really not sure I need to even explore this. Is that true? Or tell us how you address that. Like
Sure.
what's a common thing?
Yeah. If it's been a while, I would say since you've been with an advisor or you simply want a review, an outside third party review of your portfolio, I'm happy to do that. That is a service that we provide, and that's free of charge, no obligation. We can load in your portfolio and actually do a risk assessment on your portfolio and compare it to you and how risky you like to be and see if there's a match or a mismatch. And then it's up to you after having our discussion, whether you go back to your other advisor and say, I'd like to make some changes or have further discussions, or you say, Jeff, I truly believe what you're doing here is going to work best for us. And we'd be happy to take you on as a client. It is definitely a mutual situation. We're not the right fit for everyone, and we understand that. And that's perfectly fine too.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dawn.
What
I
a
really
treat.
appreciate it. Thank
Always
you.
a joy talking to you.
Likewise.
What an incredible conversation with Jeffrey Florio of Old Oak Advisors. I hope you're walking away with a completely new understanding of what to look for in a financial advisor and why the fiduciary standard should be non-negotiable in your financial planning journey. Let me leave you with Jeff's powerful daily question that guides everything he does. Is what I'm doing today going to enrich my clients' lives as a whole? Imagine if we all approached our businesses and relationships with that level of intentionality. I think I'm going to start using that one too. If today's conversation resonated with you and you're curious about what working with a fee-only fiduciary could mean for your financial future, you can find Jeff at oldoakadvisors.com. That's OLDOAK, advisors with an O.com. He's also on LinkedIn and Facebook. And remember, he offers complimentary second opinions on existing portfolios with zero obligation. Sometimes a fresh perspective is exactly what you need to see new possibilities, kind of like getting a second opinion from a doctor. Now, speaking of fresh perspectives, if you're a business owner here in Birmingham, Alabama, doing around $5 million in gross revenue, and you're ready for a real strategic edge, I want to talk to you about something special. You've built something meaningful, something real, but somewhere in the growth, your story might have gotten lost in the noise. Your marketing feels disconnected from the business you've actually built. Here's what I know about established business owners like you. It's not your content that's broken. It's just the clarity. Your team isn't posting the wrong things. They just don't have the right message. Your audience isn't disengaged. They're simply confused. That's where the evergreen advantage comes in. When you join me as a guest on the Entrepreneurial Edge, like Jeff did on this one, you don't just get a one-time podcast episode. You get what I call speak it once, share it endlessly. One conversation that becomes a 30-day evergreen marketing engine that feels like you again. One moment, one conversation, one story that becomes the foundation for everything your marketing touches moving forward. If you're ready to step beyond the ordinary and turn your story into lasting marketing clarity, visit tracerstrategicmarketing.com/fitchat to apply for the Evergreen Advantage. I want to hear from you. What was your biggest takeaway from today's episode? Send me a message on LinkedIn or Instagram, or email me at dawn@tracerstrategicmarketing.com. And if you found value in today's conversation, please take 30 seconds to leave us a review wherever you're listening. Your reviews help other entrepreneurs discover these important conversations and continue building their edge. Until then, keep pushing the entrepreneurial boundaries, keep asking some tough questions of yourself as a leader, and remember, your entrepreneurial edge isn't just about what you know, it's about the clarity of your story and how you consistently tell it. I'm Dawn Gagye, and you've been listening to The Entrepreneurial Edge. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one.